Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm filming this super late. This is my Pan Those Eyeshadows / Pan That Palette update. And I haven't done anything at all this month towards this project. I should have done it at the beginning of the month like I usually do. But it's middle of the month and I need to film this update because I need to decide what I want to do next. So, as always, my son is in the background, my dog's in the background. I haven't got a proper filming setup at the moment. So I have been working on the Naked Urban Decay, this is the original, for the last month and a half, and I actually have made a really nice little change to it, significant dent, in my opinion, just in terms of like how I usually work on eyeshadow palettes. I can definitely see a difference. So last month, in case you didn't see my last video, I stopped doing the Pan Those eyeshadows because we moved country and I thought, let me just work on one single palette first, you know, for the move, because it will make it better. And I've got access to everything and I want to switch it out because I'm very bored of this palette. So yeah, I put up on the screen what it looked like when I rolled it in. I've had this palette for like 4 or 5 years and I didn't hit, you know, I didn't have any pans in it or anything like that. It was still, you know, pretty well loved, but I hadn't been dipping into it for a really long time. So there's not a huge amount of progress when you can see the beginning photo. But I'll just put a photo now of what it looks like. As you can see, hopefully there is disruption, there is a pan, and I'm very excited to talk about it. So let me just talk about all the individual shades. So we've got Virgin here. I really like this, but it's a bit powdery. Out of all of the shades, I feel like this is the most powdery one. And I only used this 7 times in a month and a half, so really not a lot of times. I already had a dip, and I feel like there is even bigger dip, but I'm not close to hitting pan. If you can compare it to Sin, you can see there's still quite a bit of product there before I hit pan. Sin is the next one. Sin was always my favorite, and I hit pan, as you can see. I used this 15 times until I hit pan, or actually no, I think I hit pan maybe the 13th or the 14th time, and then I used it a few more times. I just really love this shimmer. I think it's a beautiful inner corner just highlight. I just think it's so pretty and shimmery, and the quality is still really good. So I really enjoy that shade. It still is my favorite. Then I used Naked probably the most. Yeah, definitely the most. I used it 19 times. There is quite a big dip there. I don't know if you can see with this lighting, but there's more of a dip towards the side there. I've hit sort of side pan almost, and I thought I was going to see pan with this one because there's just so much. There you go, you can see it now. There's just so much progress, and I used it pretty much with all of my looks because it's just one of those neutral, really light shades that works well for me, where you just put it all over, and it just is the first shade that I would use to build up my look. So yeah, that one I used 19 times. Next up, we've got Sidecar, and that I used 6 times. This is also a really lovely shimmer, but I just didn't use it as many times as I thought I would. It's a little bit, it's very neutral, it's very pretty. I don't know, I just didn't incorporate it into many looks, so I only used it 6 times, which is kind of surprising to me. I already had a little bit of disturbance and a dip, and I still do, it's no change. Next one is Buck. So I used this 14 times, and this one this one I used with this one just to deepen up the looks a little bit. Obviously there's only 2 mattes in this whole palette, so you know, these are the only 2 that I really worked with initially. He tends to love to talk when I'm talking, so if that bothers you, I do apologize. Anyway, yeah, so I used this along with Naked to deepen up the look. It's the only other matte that you can use. I did end up using Dark Horse a lot to deepen up looks, and also Hustle, but I'll get into those. Buck, I noticed that I got some really bad hard pan at some point, so I had to scrape it off. That's why it kind of looks like that, unless, because it has the same formula as this one. It's sort of powdery, but it got really hard, and yeah, I think it's still there. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I think it's still there. Actually, you can see I still need to sort of fix that because I dipped in with a slightly damp brush. It was my mistake, and it's been like that ever since, so that's kind of annoying. Half Baked, I used 5 times. This is another beautiful shimmer. I mean, all the shimmers in here are really beautiful, I would say. This is a really beautiful gold shimmer, but I wasn't really going for sort of bronzy looks. I was doing a lot more neutral looks, and I felt like this was a little bit too gold and bronzy for what I was going for at the time. So I only used that 5 times. And then the next one is Smog. I really like Smog. I think it's so pretty. Sorry, I'm like totally off off camera. I really like Smog. I think it's gorgeous, but I only used it 5 times as well. I actually prefer it to Half Baked because it's more of a neutral, like a deeper brownish gold bronzy shimmer. I don't know. I just think it's a little bit more wearable, and I can put it sort of in the inner the outer corner more to deepen up looks but still have a beautiful shimmer. So I actually really liked Smog. I really don't think there's too much difference in terms of how they looked from last month. I mean, I would say the biggest difference are these two in terms of looks, and maybe these four, and then maybe Dark Horse and this one, which was Toasted. So yeah, next one is Dark Horse, and I used this 6 times. I used it to deepen up looks. I really enjoyed this, even though it is a dark shimmer. I really liked it. It's not, I guess it's not really a shimmer, it's more like a satiny with a sheen to it, but I don't know, I really liked it, and I thought it was good to deepen up looks, and it was still sort of a neutral, cool tone brown, which I enjoyed. So I used that more than I thought I would use it, to be honest. And then I also used Toasted only 4 times, actually, which is surprising to me because before I added this to the project, Sin and Toasted were my 2 favorites, along with Sidecar. But I guess I only used it 4 times, which was kind of interesting because I thought I was going to use it more. So that is a really beautiful shimmer. I really like that. It's got a little bit more of like a pink undertone to it, and I think that's probably why I didn't touch it, because I didn't really go for pink looks at the moment. And then the next one would be Hustle, and I used that 4 times as well. And then Creep I used twice. I forced myself to use it. I really didn't want to use it, but I used it more like as an eye, like sort of a liner, just to deepen up a couple looks. And then Gunmetal I really did not want to use at all, but I forced myself because I wanted to use all of them at least once. Gunmetal is just, it's just such a misplaced, I think it's a misplaced color in this palette. I just don't think it belongs at all. I think it's good for certain looks, but I think when you pair it with most of the shades in here, I just don't really see the vision. I would use Gunmetal probably with shades that are in different palettes, basically. But yeah, that is kind of what I've been doing the last month and a half. I'm really happy that I saw Pan. I'm really happy that I gave this a little bit more love than I had the last few years. And I'm really pleased that the shade, for the most part, all the shades are still pretty good. You know, yeah, I've got a little bit hard pan, and some of the, you know, the first one is a little bit powdery now, so I'm not sure it's really the best quality anymore. But in general, it's still a very wearable palette, and I really enjoyed it. Now, the looks that I did aren't very interesting, so if I can find any interesting ones, I will pop them up, but I think they all ended up looking the same, to be honest, because I just wasn't trying to do any interesting looks. So moving on to what I'm going to do for the next couple of months, because we really don't have much time left of the year. I am going to do something a little bit different for the remainder of this year, and then starting January I will reset and do a proper pan nose eyeshadows. But I picked 2 palettes for my Shop My Stash. Well, I picked 4, but 2 of them are quads, so I'm not going to incorporate them, but I picked 2 like bigger palettes for my Shop My Stash this month, and I kind of want to focus on these a little bit. So I've actually rolled the shades already. I did it on camera, but then I had to delete the video because it was rubbish. So I'm refilming this. So I've already rolled these shades, but I wanted to let you know what they are. And just please trust me, I'm not cheating or anything like that. But the first palette that I'm going to be working on is from Colourpop. It's the California Love. And this is a relatively new palette for me. I just picked it up, but I have been using it and testing it out this last week, so there is a little bit of disturbance. And the first shade that I rolled was the shade Diego, which is a beautiful, beautiful, creamy, oh, there's nowhere to like swatch this. It's a beautiful, look at that, it's just a creamy, oh, delicious bronzy gold. I really like this, and I put it on my lids, and I think I put some of this glitter on top of it, if I'm thinking of the right look, because I definitely used this glitter on one of my looks, and it looked gorgeous. Absolutely loved it. And then the second shade that I rolled in this palette was called the Bay, so it's just this matte over here, which will be really, really nice to work with. A nice easy shade to blend with, so they go together. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to roll 2 shades from both of these palettes. I'll show you the next palette in a moment, because there's no point me rolling in 5 at this time. I just figured 2 from each kind of makes the most. The next one, let me just wipe my hands because my hands are like so dirty. So the next one is the Novena palette that I want to be working on. This is a palette that I'm not familiar with. I mean, I am familiar with it because everybody seems to love this, and I bought it from my mum, and she re-gifted it back to me because she didn't want it. She basically gave it back after using it, and I've only tried it once, so the rest of the sort of disturbance is from her. And I kind of want to just sort of learn about this palette a little bit more, and I think this is a good opportunity for me to do that. So the first shade that I rolled in was this beautiful shimmer here, this rose gold, and this is just like stunning. That is just the most beautiful. It's a little bit similar to this one, but just got more of that pink goldy sheen. Oh, I love it. And the I also rolled in another matte from here. So it's interesting, in each palette I rolled 1 shimmer and 1 matte, which was pretty lucky of me. But the second shade that I rolled was Eccentric. So this one, you know, I think this color story is really good. So these are the 4 shades I'm going to be working with. It's very, very cohesive, very neutral based, which kind of makes sense because both palettes are both neutral. But I was kind of hoping that more of these maybe beautiful sort of pinky, mauvey, purpley tones would pop out. But this shimmer does have a little bit of that, so that doesn't matter. And also, what I really want to do is, I have these focus shades, but because this is in my Shop My Stash, I still want to use all the other shades within there, so, and play around. Because what I've been finding with the Pan Nose eyeshadows, just lately, you know, the last few updates, I would just work on 1 shade and 1 palette, but not really touch the rest of the palette. And that doesn't really help me because I want to sort of love the whole palette and look at it in a cohesive way, and not just like 1 shade there, 1 shade there, 1 shade there, if that makes sense. So that's why I liked using this palette for the last month, because I would work through everything, and I kind of want to do the same with these 2, but have those focus shades to, okay, I want to focus on these, maybe use these in most of my looks, but still fall in love with the rest of the palette, if that makes sense. You know, there's only 2 months left. I don't think I'm going to hit pan in these, but I am going to do a usage goal. So I think every month I just would like to use each of those shades at least 10 times. So for instance, between now and the next update, I'd like to use all of these at least 10 times. That would be my goal. If I use them more, that's fine. And then the next update, I think another 10 times would be fine, because usually I do 20 usage goal and then I roll it out, or if I hit pan before then, that's great. If I hit pan obviously before that, then that's great too, but that's not really the goal in terms of what I want to do for the next couple of months. I think it's just more usage, fall in love with the palette, see what I think about it, and then I might carry this on into the new year, or just go straight back, or have like 2 different projects going on, because I really just want to understand the palettes that I have, because I feel like I have a lot of palettes now and I would like to just give a little bit more love to them. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing, and that is my update. So working on these 2, going to put the Naked back in my the rest of my palette drawer at the moment. I mean, I haven't set up my makeup, but I do have put everything in a drawer at the moment. And yeah, hopefully I will have a little bit of progress and it'll be a little bit interesting to see. And also I might sort of tell you like how many times I use all of the shades, you know, so they'll both be like a pan that palette. I guess there is a pan that palette really, but with focus shades. Um, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe if you'd like to. I promise I will have a better setup soon. I mean, as you can see, it's kind of a mess. We're still like figuring out where we want to put everything, and we have to, you know, spackle, paint, and all that. Some rooms. So, you know, my office slash sort of filming area probably won't be ready for another month or so, but I might have better setup next time to film. So anyway, thank you so much, and I will see you next time, hopefully. Bye.